lot now.
And then the people that can come up here because we have no guests.
So they could be here. Yeah, if they stay right here, they're perfectly in view, or even the stage if they want.
Hello. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? All right. So good evening. Ooh, all right. Ooh. So good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming out. You literally could have been anywhere. You could have been anywhere in the world, literally, but you are here with us this evening. Really appreciate that. So this is the September Community Meetup. Yes, I know people are eating. Clap it up if you can, or woo-hoo, something for yourselves. So we have a couple of new faces in the space. So I'm gonna do a proper introduction because my mama raised me right. So for folks that don't know who I am, I'm Kelly McGowan. I am the founder and executive director of Transform 314. For folks that don't know, I know. For folks that don't know who Transform 314 is, we're really created to bridge the disconnect between Black St. Louisans and local governments, make sure we are driving policy changes that positively impact our community's built environments. So I know people are eating, but show of hands or yell out if you have heard of the term built environment before, if you're familiar with this term. Okay, so most people have, and then people have heard my spiel before. So we really focus on local government because local government, it truly impacts the fabric of our communities, but people sleep on it so much. So Transform 314 was created to make sure people are aware of why local government is so important, how it impacts our communities, and most importantly, ways that we can engage in a meaningful way to make sure our voices are incorporated and we're part of the decision-making process because it's our community too. So that's what we do. So this is what we're gonna get into this evening. Welcome. I just welcomed y'all. I just introduced myself. We're gonna do a quick round of introductions as well here because I like to make sure we all know who is in the space together. I'll also do a quick review of our meetup purpose and house rules because we got, like I said, some new faces in our space to make sure we're on the same page. We have our MetroLink Green Line project folks in the building. So they'll be providing some updates, and I kind of had a little, early access to some slides, but it'll be a great presentation because I know it's a lot of conversation being had in community about what this project is, what it isn't. So we'll literally hear from directly to kind of dispel some of those myths. We'll also get into a little bit of an activity. And also, I'm gonna give y'all, special announcement a little bit about what to expect and what we're gonna be doing in 25. So, specialty, look, y'all find out information if people don't know. So we'll get into an activity as well around, what our individual spaces and lanes are when it comes to doing the work. This is gonna take all of us to bring about the changes we wanna see in our community. We have a parking lot for folks with questions and we can revisit it at our next meetup, and then calls to action and special announcements. Y'all ready? Get into it? Okay. So, we're gonna go around the room real quick. If everyone could provide their name, what ward or neighborhood you live in, if you know what it is. Also, we might have some St. Louis County fans in the room. Feel free to represent your municipality too, because we love our St. Louis County fans too. And also share one thing that brought you here tonight. Okay? So we're gonna start, because I'm looking at it right now here. We're gonna start with Ryan here.
Hello, my name is Ryan Brown. I am in Ward 14, downtown West, as they call it now. And one thing that brought me here is I am a board member on Transform 314. So I just try to continue to support all of our activations.
All
right.
I'm Alexia Majors, Ward 14, downtown West. One thing that brought me here was I went to the MetroLink Green Line website, and I was very intrigued by what I saw, so I wanted to come in and hear from the source.
Awesome.
Hi, I'm Janae. I represent Ward 10, and something that brought me here is just wanting to continue to stay informed and different things happening around the city.
Cool.
Hi there, my name is Andrew Shaughnessy. I live in South County, and a couple of things brought me here. One, I am the newest board member of Transform 314.
Woo-hoo.
I know, also real quickly that a lot of you come to these, and I really want to give a shout out because Kelly has done a great job. And I know that this work does not get done without resources. So if you all could give to Transform 314, we would certainly appreciate any donations that you can give to help us continue this mission. Back to you, Kelly.
Thank you, Andrew. Look at that. He's telling me how to do. All right.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jessa Haley. I live in Ward 9, West End, and I come here so I can know where my tax dollars are going, and then know the real solutions for how to actually make change. I like how we get into how the sausage is made.
Hello everyone, my name is Donovan Dixon. I reside in Ward 5, Southwest Garden. And I'm here today because I'm interested in hearing about the MetroLink Green Line project.
Hi, my name is Eleanor, also from Ward 5, but also some excited about the Green Line project.
Hello, everyone. My name is James Stringfellow. I'm in Ward 11, and I've been participating with Kelly at 314 for a number of months now, and I continue to come because I'm interested in what she's putting down and what I hear and what I see, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
All right.
My name is Alyssa. I'm representing Hope County. I'm from Bell County. And one thing that brought me here today, really, I'm just wanting to get back involved in.
Good evening, my name is Lorna Godwin. I own Vector Communications, which is an engagement and communications consulting firm. And I am working on the MetroLink Green Line project, so here to tell you about that. I live in Creve Coeur, but my business is located in Union Station, at the back of Union Station in the powerhouse. And for someone who's been involved in engagement for 26 years, it's good to see all of you here because you need to know what's going on in your community. So thank you for being here, and Kelly for taking the lead on this.
Hi, good evening. My name is Tim Nittler. I'm a Director of Capital Projects for Metro here in St. Louis. I actually live in O'Fallon, Illinois, but work downtown. And I'm here to present the Green Line with Lorna and hopefully answer all your questions. I'm glad to hear that there's a lot of interest in the project and we look forward to speaking with you all.
We're gonna go in the back, and then we're gonna come back up here. So in the back row, we'll start with you. Okay.
I'm Jan, and I live in Ward 8, Benton Park. And I'm here because this is a well-organized and informative organization.
Cool.
My name is Troy Thomas. I would assume I'm in Ward 14, but I live right down the street from mine, so Ward 14. And one reason that brought me here is just, my willingness to learn on what's going on around in the city, and just wanting to be more of a contributing factor to what's going on in the community. And for the reason to be right here right now.
Cool. Welcome. All right.
Charles Bryson. I live in Ward 8. I'm also the policy catalyst for TrailNet, which is the organization that is devoted to safety strong.
Cool.
I'm Kimberly McGowan, and I'm Ward 9. And two reasons I'm here. One, because Kelly's my daughter. Two, it's always interesting and you learn so much about your community.
Cool.
Hello, my name is Ken. I am in the 7th ward with Alderman Alicia Sonier. I'm Benton Park West. I'm definitely a fan of the Green Line. Spoken with Warner before, and she mentioned there's this event tonight, so I figured I saw hi, and here was, everyone's opinions are on it. It's a presentation. I'm definitely an advocate for it, but I'm eager to hear kind of everyone's thoughts and concerns. I'm definitely a big kind of public transit advocate.
Hi, I'm Stan, and I've been coming to, like Mr. Stringfellow, Transform 314 for a while, and just want to stay plugged in and engaged and learn about transportation policy.
And good to see you as always.
Craig Schmidt, Ward 8, Marine Villa, Area E, Block Unit 1902, or the Federation of Block Units. So Kelly always brings me here, but I do work in the health department, and we talk about things called social determinants of health, transportation, built environment. They're really critical. And I've been hanging on, looking forward to a green line, before it was called the Green Line, for many years.
All right, so hello everyone. See, we are in this space because we all care, right? And this is what it takes to really build the momentum and move things that we want to see in our city and also in our region. So welcome everyone. Real quick, what are the purposes of our meetups for the new folks that are here in our space? Really 4 things. 1, our meetups are our space to connect and build with fellow St. Louisans that are looking to improve our city. 2, we use this as a space to share information and legislative updates regarding things impacting our streets and other aspects of our community's built environments. Number 3, this serves as a space for everybody. So residents, elected and appointed leaders, business owners, organizations, et cetera, so we can all come together in a productive and solutions-oriented way. It's gonna take all of us, right? It's a heavy lift. We got a lot of issues. So we all need to do our part to come together to develop some solutions to improve things. And then lastly, but certainly not least, we are about that work. So we're also here to really develop and implement advocacy efforts that result in improving our streets, whether that's policies, whether that's improved procedures, whatever it is. We also want to utilize that as a space for us to really bring that into motion. In-house rules, because we family. Yes, we're family now. So just so we're all on the same page to make sure things move smoothly, I asked that one person will speak at a time. Also, I gotta shout out our tech crew over here that hook all this stuff up. Please shout it out to them, because I can't do it. I'm a fake tech savvy person, okay? But obviously we have a mic. Y'all can hear it. We're also streaming live, so we're gonna try to play around a little bit with that as people ask questions and things. But I just ask that everyone, that we have one person speaking at a time. Also, just be considerate and respect differences of opinion. 3rd, we follow Vegas rules here, so personal stories and government names will stay here, but the lessons and the learnings will leave here, and that's what we use to incorporate, to bring about the changes and apply to bring about the changes we want to see in our city. Number 4, we're gonna make sure everyone has their time to shine, because we want to hear from everyone's different perspectives, opinions, et cetera, because again, that's really where the change is, in bringing in those diverse voices. Also, we have a parking lot, so this is a space where, for instance, I always say Mr. Stringfellow has some really good questions. So if there is a time when someone asks a question, I don't know the answer, and I also, because I leverage the wisdom and lived experience here as well, if you don't know what the answer to the question is, I'll do my due diligence to make sure we revisit that at our next meetup. And then lastly, no one has to be knowledgeable of local government to be an active participant in our meetups. So those are our house rules. And I'm done talking, because now the fun part starts. So we will have our guests come up to speak about, again, what y'all here for, to provide an update on the MetroLink Green Line project. So clap it up for them, please.
Do you want me to do microphones? Open the microphones? Okay, and then, yeah, so this is going forward. Okay. And then stand here, so you can be on the live.
Where do I need to stand? So I'm on camera? Right here? Okay. Stay right here. I tend to move a little bit, but I'll make sure I'll stay. So good evening, everyone. Good evening. Again, my name is Lorna Godwin. I own Vector Communications, which is a 26-year-old engagement communications consulting firm. Heard about Transform 314 because one of my employees is a member, James White. Unfortunately, he's not here tonight, but he told me about it, and I just think it's great, and spent some time talking to Kelly a few weeks ago and said we could come and talk about this MetroLink Green Line project. So, want to bring you up to speed on it and tell you a little bit about the purpose of this project, what's happened to date, and then Tim will describe the extension to you and what's next and how you can be involved going forward. So a little bit about this project. It is being done really to level the playing field, to invest in neighborhoods that have been historically underserved, because there are about nearly 30%, others say even more, of people who do not own vehicles in the city. And imagine taking several buses to get to work, to get to healthcare services, to do whatever you want to do. Putting in a fixed infrastructure, which is what it's called, like light rail, means it's not going anywhere. So development services can be brought in, etc., as opposed to bus service, which you can change a bus line. Doesn't take too long to do that. And there's not that commitment, so to speak, to the community, to the stop, etc. And also, the last reason is, well, it might be hard for you to see, is that to expand and strengthen the region's economic transportation network. We know that a lot of young people today like to take public transit they just don't want to own a car, it's an environmental issue for them, et cetera, et cetera. So to attract more people to the city of St. Louis, which we need, because the population has been declining, we need to compete with other cities that have great services, have public transit, et cetera. So that's another big reason for it. This is a project that has not started just in the last year or two. It has been going on officially since 2008. And the project at that time was called the North Side, South Side MetroLink project. I say all the time, Tim has heard it several times, that when I interview people about coming to work at Vector, if you like instant gratification, it's not the place for you. Because particularly projects like transportation take a very, very long time because there's a step-by-step process you have to go through. But if nothing else, what I want you to remember on this slide is that in 2017, city voters approved a 50-cent sales tax specifically for a north-south light rail line. And that tax has been collecting ever since, waiting to be used. It has not been used. So if anyone says to you, someone heard today, they said the tax is being used, it's not being used, it's collecting, because it's specifically for north-south MetroLink line. And then COVID came, things stopped for a while, things also changed, and now we have the line not going through downtown, but straight down Jefferson because of all of the development that's going on in downtown West, where some of you live. Nearly $2 billion with a B in development going on in that area. So the purpose of the MetroLink line is to connect people to neighborhoods. And this is different from the line that you see now, okay? So the lines, the two MetroLink lines, the red and blue line, are going east-west. This will go north-south through the city, connecting neighborhoods and people to the services that they need. Before I turn it over to Tim, two important things have happened this year. We made some great progress. I told you since 2008, we've been working on this, but this year has been about a year thus far. Number one, East-West Gateway Council of Governments, which is our local planning organization, approved the Green Line as a locally preferred alternative, a technical term, for a light rail project in the city of St. Louis. And secondly, in June, we were approved by the Federal Transit Administration to go into their funding process. That does not mean we are going to get the funding, but it means that we have been selected, and they only select about 2 or 3 cities a year nationwide to go through their multi-step process to be considered for funding. So that's a huge step for us. So basically, the only thing that could stop this now is if we don't get the funding. We need the federal funding, and we have that local match that I said that's been collected since 2017. And we have that, and if we get that federal funding, we can go for it. A lot of people ask, why can't we move faster on this project? Like Dallas funded it all locally. But when you ask for federal funding, you have to follow their process. It's like going after a loan, you know, they just don't give it to you. You have to go through a multi-step process and to prove that it's worthwhile and you can do it. Basically the same thing here. So, but we made great stride this past year. And so now I'm going to turn it over to Tim to talk to you about the actual extension.
Thank you.
Thank you.
She'll be back up.
I'll be back.
So yes, once again, Tim Nittler, I'm the Director of Capital Projects for Metro. Thanks for having us. We're always happy to come and talk to people about the project. So if you ever want us back, especially if you're going to feed us like you did tonight, please invite us back. Green Line project, for people that don't or haven't heard of it or don't know much about it, as Warren mentioned, it's a north-south line. It starts up at Fairgrounds Park on Natural Bridge Road. There's a station stop right there at near the Bear Pits. It goes southeasterly down to the roundabout that's there, and then turns south on the Jefferson, and then runs all the way down to Chippewa Street. 5.5 miles. You'd be able to see it on the handout that we gave you. Plus, if you go to our website, you can see a lot more details and get a lot more information from that. Along the 5.5 miles, pardon me, there's 10 station stops with one important one, or important for me, is that we do have a new station on our red and blue line, which ties to the green line. So just south of I-64 near Scott or Ewing Avenue, there will be a station for the green line, and then there'll be an elevator and a staircase that goes down to the existing red and blue line. We'll have a new red and blue line station there. So theoretically, people that are riding the green line can get all the way to South County. They can get all the way over to St. Clair County, all the way to Mid-America Airport, which we have a current project where we're extending 5.5 miles out to the airport. So the green line is an important feature that kind of ties the whole community together and allows people from the area go across the entire St. Louis metro area. Here's a rendering. I know the screen's a little small. This is showing one of our stations. Basically, it's a pretty unobtrusive facility. So what we'll have is 2 rail tracks down the middle of the roadway. When it comes to a station, we'll have a 14-inch high platform, approximately 14 inches high. We won't have the tall platforms like we have on the current MetroLink. So because it is a street running light rail system, it'll have shorter platforms, and also that allows the ability for people to access it easier. However, what it does mean for us is that we're not going to be using the same cars that we have on our existing line on the green line, because those are for the high platforms. We're switching to a low platforms here. So there will be new vehicles purchased. Right now, currently, we plan on buying 12 cars to service this line. Step through the stations real quick. The first one, as I mentioned, is up at Fairgrounds Park. Has a direct connection to the new Brick Line Greenway that they're building up there, and also that are connected to the Fairground Park. The next one to the southeast is St. Louis Avenue Station. That's right on the north end of the new NGA campus that they're building up there, and also ties into the Brick Lane Greenway there as well. Moving southerly, Cass Avenue, that's on the south end of the NGA campus. The Dr. Martin Luther King Drive station, we're getting closer into the more urbanized downtown area, or downtown west. Allows for more efficient use of our infrastructure at this location. We had combined two stations into this one, just trying to minimize impacts. So that's one of the reasons we're at this location instead of at Washington Avenue. Next south, Market Street Station. A lot of development going on there, as Lorna mentioned. New soccer stadium. There are 2 new motels going in at that corner. So a lot of activity right there that will generate some use for our new Green Line as well. The new station that I mentioned that ties into the red and blue line is at the Scott Avenue Ewing Yard. That will have the infill station for our existing red and blue line and ties up to the new Green Line on Jefferson. Park Avenue Station, more business district tie-ins. Gravois Avenue, Sydney Street, just a lot of mixed use development going on there as well, and a lot of existing commercial activity there. Cherokee Street, getting more into some of the residential areas of the corridor. And then last but not least is the Chippewa Station. And also there, a lot of housing down in that area. 3 locations that were previously eliminated from further design. One was at Palm Street. Go back. There was one at Russell and then one at Arsenal. And all of those potential designs had impacts to either businesses, buildings, schools, something that we deemed was not appropriate for our project impact. So we eliminated those from contention at that point. The process that we're in right now, as Lorna mentioned, we are in the FTA pipeline basically at this point. So they approved us to move into project development phase, which means we're taking the plans that had been developed to a 15% level, and over the next 6 to 9 months, we're moving that 15% level to a 30% design level. We've hired a design consultant to perform that work for us. So next May, June timeframe, we'll get those 30% plans. As part of that, we are also doing an environmental review. So we'll look at many different things. I've got a slide in here in a minute that I'll kind of tell you exactly what we're looking into. So in the spring of 2025, when that environmental review is wrapped up and the 30% plans are wrapped up, we will have another public meeting or a series of public meetings. Last time we held 3 along the corridor. We'll hold those again. You'll be able to find out all the information you want via our website. Plus, Lorna has a sign-in sheet. If you want more information from us, she'll have that. She can pass it around as well. You can sign up, and then you'll be notified of those public meetings automatically. Construction timeline. So what we're looking at is the start of construction in 2027, 2028. That if we get the funding approved, we will be doing some preliminary construction work, such as utility relocations, as early as starting at the end of 2025. So even though the actual construction of the Green Line won't be until 27, there could be some preliminary work going on at that point towards the end of 2025. And we're projecting an opening date of the system in 2031. So we're still 7 years out, but projects such as this, as Lorna mentioned, take some time. So we're currently in the environmental review phases, as Lorna mentioned. We're looking at ways that are making sure that we don't impact anything out of the ordinary. Some of the things that we're looking at, water resources, drainage, air quality, land use, and you know, if there's any property takes, economic development, neighborhood and community facilities, historic and archaeological issues, noise and vibration is a big one. Hazardous materials, you never know what's under some of the ground that we're going through. So basically, it's just a wide range of studying existing conditions in the corridor. Another one that we always look at as part of our process is environmental justice. We want to make sure that we're not impacting any minority or low-income communities any more than anybody else. As a part of the project, we want to make sure that we're integrating our MetroLink's secure platform plan. For those of you that are MetroLink users, you've probably seen some of the construction that's going on at some of the Missouri and Illinois stations. Currently, we have 4 stations in Illinois under construction and 7 in Missouri, basically from Del Mar all the way down to Civic Center, where we are installing fare gates and security fencing. So we're taking our open system, which basically allows anybody to walk on, into a closed system where you'll have to show proof of payment. You have to have your fare, you have to have a ticket. You'll be able to scan that ticket and then enter through those security gates. So as part of the Green Line project, we will be investing in infrastructure that is similar to what we're doing on our current MetroLink line as well. So by the January of 2026, we'll have all of our existing red and blue lines secured with the fare gates and fencing. And then while we're building out Green Line, we'll just incorporate that work into the construction of the actual project. Under the existing secure platform project that is on the red and blue lines, we're adding 1,800 cameras. I don't know how many cameras we'll have on the Green Line, but it'll be in the hundreds. And basically, we'll be able to see everything that is going on out there. Oh, I'm pushing the wrong button, I wonder. So all those cameras feed back to what we call our real-time camera center. That is manned 24/7. We can see all the cameras on our system. All of our buses have cameras, all of our trains have cameras, and we have, it's going to be over 2,500 cameras on our red and blue line. We'll add hundreds of cameras under the Green Line project. They all report back onto this. We have software that monitors along with 4 people that are in that room at all times, monitoring the cameras on the system and looking for things that are going wrong and people that are doing things that they shouldn't be doing. So that is part of our current plan to increase security on our project. Lorna, you want to finish up? Sure. And then we'll take some questions.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. And anyone who wants to sign up to get our email updates and to know when meetings are happening, please fill that out. I have a pen here. Thank you. So before we close, just a few things to remember. Again, the Green Line is not new. This has been studied since 2008. The name has changed, but the line itself has been studied since 2008. The project goal is to invest in historically underserved neighborhoods and to provide equity. That's what the Green Line means. Green means equity. It means mobility, and it means access to hospitals, educational institutions, jobs, etc. The environmental issues like noise and vibration that Tim just mentioned will be studied. The whole goal is that this project cannot, the benefits must outweigh any adverse impacts. That's part of the Environmental Policy Act from 1969, because a lot of transportation infrastructure in the past was built in Black communities, and Black communities like Mill Creek Valley, which many of you I'm sure know, was destroyed in the 50s to make way for I-64. So with an environmental study like we're doing here, because we are asking for federal money, it has to be a benefit. It can't be a negative, okay? And then the Green Line will connect with Brickline Greenway in 3 places: North Grand, St. Louis Avenue, and Market Street. The NGA is currently headquartered in South St. Louis. It's been there for years. And they're building this new $1.7 billion facility up on Jefferson. There are about 3,100 employees who work at NGA. All those employees are moving from South St. Louis to North St. Louis to work there, not to move. Some are concerned that 3,000 people are moving into the neighborhood. That's not true. It's been in the city for years. Folks will just be moving to a different location. And you heard Tim just describe the security. We know that's an issue with folks, and Bi-State and Metro Transit has been working on that for the current line, and the same security measures will be applied to the Green Line. And thank you. Get involved as you are here. You can scan the QR code, go to our website, our email to give us your thoughts. Every single thought has to be documented. That's part of the environmental process and has to be studied. And then we take that long, thick book and turn it into the federal government for their review. We will finish with the environmental study next spring, and we'll come back out to the community and say, this is what we learned. What do you think? But in the meantime, if you go one more slide, we have station design workshops coming up. And I really encourage you guys to attend. We don't have, in fact, we're going to change, November 11th is Veterans Day. We made a decision this afternoon to change that. But if you sign up, you will get the dates, and I'll also pass it on to Kelly as well, so she can pass it on. These station design workshops are going to be hands-on workshops. We're going to divide you into groups, look at the stations, and talk to you about what type of lighting, what type of sidewalks, what's going on there, what will make you feel safe, the landscaping, and what the station should look like. We'll have some design concepts, and you'll say, well, I like this. I like, out of this concept, I like this, but out of this, another concept, I like that. And get your input, so then the designers can create what the station stops are going to look like. So those meetings are very important. I really encourage you to attend if you can. And that is it. Ms.
All right.
Kelly?
Thank you.
Comments or
Thank you
questions?
all. Yeah. All right. Can you go back to slide? Because that might be distracting to people. And that's the joke. I know, it just ruined the moment. Sorry. No, you're good. Thank you so much for that very informative presentation, and also the handouts and just ways that folks can plug in and be engaged. I just want to open up the floor to see if anyone had any burning questions. I saw Jan first, and then we'll go down the row back there.
I was curious, will the utility companies charge to, move? I think you mentioned there may be some utility movements. Will they charge for that?
They won't charge the individuals or the public. It's an internal cost. I'm sorry. It's an internal cost. They won't charge the public in general. It's just a cost that they know that they have to comply with. So it's not something that they don't ever encounter, right? So whenever MoDOT does a project, or the city of St. Louis has another type of project, if there's utilities impacted, they have to move out of the way. That's part of the agreement that they have with the city. That's part of the agreement they would have with MoDOT. So there's no direct cost to the public on that.
I have the wrong question.
Okay? Try again.
My question was not to the individual, customer, but will utility be imposed a charge to move utilities for this project?
So the bulk of the utility companies, and I think we've identified 27 of those utility companies. The bulk of those companies are within the city right of way. So they're on city property, either near Jefferson or in the middle of Jefferson, wherever it is. If they're within the city right of way, all but 2 of those 27 will have to move at their cost, not to the project cost. So the 2 utilities that we've identified that will have to reimburse for their movement is the City of St. Louis Water Company and Metropolitan Sewer District. So on Ameren, Spectrum, all the other ones will have to move on their own.
Okay, thank you.
Does that help?
That answered my question.
Okay, good.
So, had a conversation with several people on Monday, and their concern had to do with the current stations and how they don't appear to be forward-facing, public-facing, etc. And I also remember how when Stephen of Oliver was being done, how it took a long time for both housing and businesses to occupy that space once the MetroLink got landed. So my question is, in a general sense, does Bi-State have people on board that are looking at how to sort of already look at businesses so that when we're looking at station design, we're also thinking about the corridors of that design and saying, well, what businesses might be able to go there that would enhance either the neighborhood or the sidewalk or the street or whatever.
A city person was supposed to be coming with us tonight, but his young daughter, she was not going out tonight. So anyway, the city has put in place a couple of things recently. I don't know if you've seen it in the news. They changed the zoning around this green line to make it easier for development. So part of coming to those station design workshops I mentioned we're having in November is to tell us, what do you want to see in your community? And for us, that's mainly for the city. And then the city's also put a freeze on property tax increases because, the big concern, just like I have, you do these projects and we get priced out and moved out. The property taxes will freeze so people who currently live in the neighborhood can stay there and enjoy the benefits of the line. But the city has made changes. It's for the zoning, you can go 1 floor higher to a 5th floor. The minimums have changed, but that's important. So when you have those station design workshops, that's a good time to talk about that.
Thank you.
So, the green line is gonna be above, it's gonna run parallel to.
Yes. Great.
So this wasn't a problem when we started out on this, but how will you secure this like you do for the blue and red line if it's along the street level? Because some people in my neighborhood would just walk along the tracks. You have to enclose the whole track.
Do you know this is a former alderman here?
Yeah.
Worked a lot for the city. I'm giving you credit. It's one of the aldermen that's come out. I mean, I've been doing this for 26 years. We first met back then, so give you your props.
So that is a concern. However, we have a deterrent, and what they're called are anti-trespass panels. So we lay those anti-trespass panels on the ground and over the tracks. And what they are is just a series of cones that it's made out of hard rubber plastic, makes it really tough to walk across. So we put 12 or 16 foot of these panels down along the track and kind of fence up to those panels. That way, I'm not saying it's invincible, right? If you want to, you could shimmy along the actual track and get across them, but it makes it a lot more difficult in order to get across those panels and access the platforms. So we're using that as part of our secure platform project on the existing line. We'll use them on the green line as well.
Ken?
Will that stop cars from driving on the tracks as well?
No. They'll have a bumpy ride, but no, and still have to pay attention and not drive your car where it's not supposed to be driven.
Are there any other cities that kind of have a railway that's similar?
Sure. A lot of the bigger cities have a system similar to this. Kansas City has what they call the Kansas City streetcar. It has been very popular over the past several years. It's probably, 5 to 7 years old at this point. Has been very popular and has generated a lot of development along the line. Denver has one, Minneapolis has one, Phoenix has a big system of street running light rail vehicles. So we're not the first one by far. It's just something new to us. Yes, sir.
All right, it seems like, for the length of the rail system, you can't cross from one side to the other. How are the people that live in the area kind of get around that?
So this system will be at street level. So you'll be able to have a crosswalk. We'll have signals in place, and it'll give the pedestrians a free movement across the crosswalk. They'll have to cross the tracks, but the tracks will be at the same pavement level. Did I answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay.
At the intersection.
At the intersections.
Taking that into consideration.
Mm-hmm. You won't be able to cross anywhere but at an intersection. But at the intersections, you'll be able to cross unimpeded.
If I may, one more question. Now, let me make sure I'm clear on this. Down Jefferson, we're putting in 2 systems. The Green Line, and there's some type of other system coming in. Also, am I right about that, or is there only one system coming down Jefferson?
From my knowledge, Bi-State Metro is the only one that is looking at putting a system in Jefferson, and that's just the Green Line.
That's what it's called.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
New name.
The new name, yeah, as of the spring, we switched from calling it North Side, South Side. After it became more of a reality, we renamed it to the Green Line.
So if you're talking about the brick line greenway, that's like a bike path. That's not. Okay, just make it up.
Just one.
Charles?
How many of these stations do you think will be, have park and ride, or is it not designed for park and ride?
It is not currently designed for parking, right?
I was curious about how the zoning is being measured and what is the expected change or effect on it?
The zoning that the mayor's office, and if you go to our website, there's an article about it that can give you more detail than what I can. It is allowing for a building to go higher, to have minimum parking, and there's one more that I can't think of right now. But if you go to our website, as soon as you go on there, it talks about Mayor Jones making these changes and the Board of Aldermen approved them recently. But it's to, again, work to attract more, like what services do you want? You know, let's get a grocery store. Let's get dry cleaning. I mean, if you go take a look at the Bolivar, you see all the development that's happened around there. You look at Cortex, which is amazing. It was when MetroLink first started out, and they added a station there a few years ago. So Emerson Park Development in East St. Louis, so. Yes?
So what are the hours that we run?
It's not completely settled yet, but it'll be very similar to our red and blue lines. And we'll have continue, you know, the connection between the red and blue with the green during all operating hours. So it'll probably most likely begin running around 5 a.m. and end around 1 a.m.
Did you say 1 a.m.?
Mm-hmm.
Will it be loud in that one going down Jefferson?
So these are different streetcar vehicles than what our existing vehicles are. They're lighter weight, and they're built to be quieter, if you will. That is a question that we get a lot of the time. That's something that we are looking at under our environmental review is what's the existing sound levels. We'll actually put monitors in the field, measure the ambient noise that's going on out there. And then we can model what the new train load will be on the sound of the area. So that's something we have to look at. There's no curves, or not many curves on the rail. That's what generates a lot of the squealing that you hear at times. So that should not be an issue. They'll be traveling at a slower speed than our existing rail cars. We can go up to 55 miles per hour in those. It generates, you know, quite a bit of noise. These will be traveling more, you know, in the 30 to 35 mile per hour range at a maximum. So it'll be quieter just from the aspect of not going quite as fast. Mm-hmm.
Any more questions? Are we good? Finish us out, Mr. Stringfellow.
I know you mentioned bi-state in your presentation. Are they, are they with you? Are they enemies? Or are they friends? How does that work?
So
She's bi-state
Yeah.
Metro Transit.
So Bi-State Development Agency is an umbrella company, and Metro Transit is one of the companies under the Bi-State umbrella. So there's Metro Transit, which is Metro Bus, MetroLink. There's the downtown arch trams that we operate. We operate the downtown St. Louis Airport over in Cahokia, Illinois. That is one of our companies. We also have a freightway arm and an economic development arm. So Metro is part of Bi-State Development.
So they're in charge of this planning, designing, and eventually operating the system if we get the money.
Yeah, but that's a good question. Not a lot of people understand the relationship there.
All right, this is it. Yeah, go ahead, Sam. Mm-hmm.
You said that the one line, the red and the blue, runs at about 50-something or up to 50-something.
Up to
So
55.
are we gonna make sure if you catching this thing, you ain't gonna be sitting and waiting because the green line is only running at 30-something. So they're gonna adjust the schedule so that it works out for you, that you're not just sitting there, especially when it's cold. But it's hot, it's like, okay, I just sit there.
But no, that's a good point. All the schedules will have to be readjusted in order to make sure that we're tying the green line with the red and blue line. And the bus routes within the area will all have to be adjusted to make sure that we're getting people to the new green line stations and vice versa. Good question.
Mm-hmm. All right.
We're always looking for ambassadors. If someone like Ken is an ambassador, anyone? We like the young people involved, anyone involved. If you'd like to do a video testimonial about why you think this is a great idea for the city, raise your hand and I'll get your information from you. So thank you.
Thank
Kelly,
you
so much.
Thank you for that helpful information.
Yeah, volunteer.
So I'll be sure to follow up with everyone. Thank you. I'll be sure to follow up with everyone with these slides. Thank you. I'll also be sure to follow up with information I'll be receiving for sure. I'm speaking that into existence, Lorna, as far as just additional ways that folks can stay plugged in and engaged in this effort. As was spoken up here, this ain't nothing new. This train literally is it's gonna go somewhere. If we're able to get them federal points. So I think it's imperative and important that we really stay engaged and make sure that we are involved in that process. So I'll be following up with everyone with slides, contact information, and ways folks can be engaged, especially if folks want to be an ambassador and attend some of the upcoming events. So, cool? Yeah? All right, we're gonna do a little something because people, I don't know, people got the itis, been eating that jerk chicken and rice, and so we're gonna do a little something. We're gonna do a little bit of an activity. Yeah, so this kind of messed up my big reveal here, but Mark fans, okay. So 2025, I know we still in 2024, we still got stuff to do this last quarter year. But Transform 314, we're already looking forward to 2025 and really thinking about like, what are we trying to do? What are our priorities, especially when we're talking about our community meetups? And so we're gonna switch some things up a little bit in 2025. So we're gonna keep, so this slide's the purpose of our meetups. I went over this earlier today. And so we're gonna keep basically the same things that we do. So we convene folks, we educate folks, we make sure that we invite our elected officials, other subject matter experts, talk to a lot of things that are going on. We'll educate folks about processes. We'll do all of those good things. We're still gonna do that. And also, do all that work. So I highlighted on here, again, developing and implementing advocacy efforts, right, that results in the change. Big C, changes that we really want to see in our community. So we're gonna lead up for like the rest of the year to really start to think about like, how are we gonna do this work? Individually, like what does that look like for folks that are interested in, again, coming together, collective efforts to making sure we improve our jacked up and unsafe streets. And we'll also start thinking about what are we gonna prioritize, because we've been doing these things every month since January, y'all. Since January. So we have, I know. And we've had people come out every month on a Wednesday. Like that's huge. And so we have covered a lot of topics. We've covered a lot of useful information about a lot of different processes. I mean, the last month we had the director of the streets department talking about some of the challenges that she's facing and filling potholes and doing a lot of like the bigger projects that we know we need in our city. So there are a lot of things, pieces of information that we've been presented, the complete streets policy, that effort, the update there, a lot of things. So we're gonna also start to identify like, what are we gonna rally around? What are we gonna advocate for in 2025 and what is that gonna give? So we're gonna start. Y'all ready for the work? Yeah. Y'all ready to get to it? Yeah. So, activity time. This is what we're gonna get into. So I handed everyone a sheet, I believe. If you don't have one, let me know, I'll get it to you. Do folks need a pen? Because you will need a pen for this. Okay. All right. Thank you, Ryan. All right, so Ryan's distributing the nifty Transform 314 pins. So what we really want to do is start thinking about, again, what are our individual lanes when it comes to advocacy. Obviously, Transform, we're going to do what we can, but we can't do it alone. I can't do it by myself, right? It's going to take all of us. So I handed out a sheet for folks. I'll give you some time. Obviously, this is optional. I can't force people to do things. We are adults. But if you do want to engage in some type of advocacy efforts that we are getting into, please fill out a form Because again, this is gonna help us determine what our capacity, what that's gonna look like, and what that's gonna give in 2025. So I'm gonna be quiet, so y'all can kind of fill out the form. And then, after you fill out the form, there are a couple questions that I want people to write on Post-its, which are back there, and some pens. And I want you to write a couple of the, your answers to the prompts that are over here on the wall, and we're gonna kind of talk about that as a group. But yeah, so I'm gonna give y'all a few minutes to fill it out. There are a couple of questions, particularly the question, and it's folded on your sheet, as far as, the advocacy support you may need. The other question on the wall is asking how we can get more folks engaged in our efforts. So you're gonna fill that out on Post-it notes, sitting on the larger Post-it notes on the wall, and then we're gonna talk about it. Charles, did you have a question?
No, I was calling.
Okay. Yes.
While everybody fills this out, and me too, let me ask you a question, like something like this one, but it's been a QR code, and we've done it electronically, so you would have the information more in format.
So yeah, I do have a QR code screen, it's a little small, but it's fine. I try to be accommodating to folks, but it's not gonna be a super issue. But I appreciate that consideration.
Yeah, because we're gonna be doing stuff